Welcome to the 2020 Vice Presidential Debate. This debate will be beginning momentarily. The Vice Presidential Debate is what we've been waiting for a long time. Between Abbaud and Mike Pence. Abbaud is the Vice Presidential nominee for John Pelvots, and Mike Pence is the current Vice President of the United States. We would like to welcome Mrs. Abbaud and Mr. Pence to the stage tonight as we discuss the issues for Vice President, and as America is going to decide who is going to be the next Vice President of the United States. Welcome everyone to the Vice Presidential Debate. The moderators here will be starting by asking questions. Vice President Pence, you can make your opening statement. Well, hello there. Howdy there. I'm Vice President Pence. I've been Vice President for 4 years. Me and President Donald Trump have worked very well together. And we intend to keep working well together for the next 4 years after we win. We plan on winning this election 100% hands down. We're going to try. We're going to work hard for the American people. We're going to keep bringing jobs back into this country. And just as we've been doing, we're going to keep continuing our job to protect religious liberty and to secure the border. We're going to keep making America great and continuing to keep a conservative America. Our goal is very simple: secure borders, bring jobs back, protect religious liberty, and work hard for the American people and continuing to work hard for all Americans. I stand with the president. I'm very proud to stand with the president. And I look forward to continuing to stand with the president the next 4 years. Mrs. Abbaud, your opening statement now. Hello, my name is Abbaud. I'm a former Senate candidate from Arizona. I also was a candidate for President of the United States in this past election. We worked very well in Arizona. We are the Arizona Democratic Party. We want to stand up for all people, and that is what John Pelvots wants to do. As we heard in the convention, the Republican National Convention, of Vice President Mike Pence, he said some things that were shocking to me. First of all, every one of the candidates on stage insulted me in some way or form. But I am just a human being. I have spoken to many folks in Arizona, and they are good people. Many Republicans are good people in Arizona. It's shocking to me how scared they are of me, and how much they have demonized me. How much this man right here has demonized me and abused me on stage at that convention. We have a lot of work to do. We have to stand for equality, first of all. We have to stand against the bigotry of this president. We have to stand up for people in the LGBT community. We have to stand up for the Muslims in this country. We have to stand up for the believers and non-believers and all Americans in this country, and for economic prosperity. That is what John Pelvots wants to do. I look forward to hopefully winning this election along with John Pelvots, and to working with him to create a more compassionate America, and to continue to work hard to bring jobs back, to support jobs, to create jobs, and to come to a reasonable solution on the issue of immigration. Thank you. Okay, so our first question for the two candidates will be, Mr. Pence and Miss Abboud, what are your plans? What are the plans to work with the president, whoever the president may be, on the issue of immigration? Mr. Pence, you can respond first. Well, first of all, we're going to build the wall. We have to build the wall. And once that wall is built, we have to make sure people are coming in legally. That's the bottom line. It's what we're working on. It's what we're continuing to do. Me and the president are very clear on this subject. We want people to come in legally. We want the border to be secure. And we want to make sure that we're going to get all the bad people out of this country. We want terrorists. We don't want terrorists to be coming into this country. We don't want gangs. We don't want MS-13s. We don't want drugs. We're tired of it. We had enough of it. And we are going to work hard to make sure the border is secure, to get all the bad people out, and to make sure the people come in legally. That is our goal. It's as simple as that. Ms. Abboud, you can respond. We have a duty to pass comprehensive immigration reform. We have to do it. We've been waiting to do it. Yes, I believe in securing the border, as John Palvotz does too. Me and John Palvotz aren't eye to eye on everything, but we are going to work together with Republicans to come to a solution on this issue. We want to make sure, of course, that yes, that people come legally, but we also want to reform the process. It takes years for people to come in. We are not going to ban all Muslims. We are going to embrace the culture here. We need to pass immigration reform, and that is what me and John Palvotz are committed to doing. Our next question: how are you going to be handling the economy with your presidential nominees? How are you going to work together? Mr. Pence? Well, the president has been doing a very good job at bringing jobs back. We're going to continue to make sure the economy is booming. It is our goal to make sure Americans are working and to make sure that people have jobs and that unemployment continues to be low. Trump is the best president I've ever seen with the economy. I look forward to working with him. Mr. Mrs. Abboud, your thoughts? The economy, we in Pence agree, honestly. We want to continue to bring jobs. We want to continue to increase employment. We have a duty to continue to do that. It's what we want to do. It's what me and John Palvotz want to do. It's one of the reasons I run for president. We need to combat discrimination in the workplaces. I don't know where Mr. Pence stands on that. Excuse me. I am against discrimination. We need to combat all discrimination. LGBT discrimination, racial discrimination, and all kinds of discrimination in the workplace, and make sure people are protected regardless of their religion, race, or sexual orientation. Or gender. We are going to fight to protect people in the workplace, and we're going to make sure that people are employed. We have a duty to do that, and it is our job to do that. It is a shame that Mr. Pence does not want to acknowledge where he stands on certain types of discrimination, including LGBT discrimination. Mr. Pence, would you like to respond to that? Well, you know that I have my views, but my views are personal, but I will oppose all forms of discrimination, and that's what I've been set to do. All right? Just as Trump. Whether it's racial or against a person's sexual orientation or gender. We or religious. We do not tolerate discrimination. Our next question. Mr. Wood, would you like to respond before we move to the next question? Mr. Pence has been solidly for LGBT discrimination in the past. He's been very much for it. Excuse me, how so? How so? You signed that Religious Liberty Act while you were governor, and it was disgusting to support discrimination against people. As working with the president, I do not support discrimination of any kind, and that is fine. Okay. Any response? We are going to stand up. That is what we are going to do. Okay, our next question. What are your views on taxes and the minimum wage? How are you going to work with the current president to ensure that Americans get fair American taxes are fair? Well, we are committed to lowering income tax, Mr. Pence. You can respond now. We didn't say it. We are committed. I apologize. We are committed to lowering income tax. We are committed to making sure that people take home as much of their pay as possible. And we are committed to making sure, obviously, I am not really for raising the minimum wage. And why is that, Mrs. Abbaud? You have to wait to respond. I'm not for raising the minimum wage, but we are for lowering income tax. Mr. Trump may have a different view on that. I don't know. Mrs. Abbaud, would you like to respond to that? We want to make sure everybody pays their fair share. Me and John Pelvatz are 100% on that. We are 100% on board to making sure all Americans pay their fair share of taxes. I come from Arizona, a state that wants to be taxed low, which is a big reason why a lot of people are Republican there. However, it is not something I agree with help lowering taxes to help those who need the poorer and middle class, but I still think that the rich have to be taxed a little bit more. It is just excuse me, why do you think that, Miss Abboud? We have a duty to make sure everybody pays their fair share. Yes, but everybody means everybody. You just said the rich need to be taxed a little bit more. Was that a slip or something? What I mean is, yes, the we need to make sure everybody pays their fair share. But the more they earn, they should be taxed a little bit more. It is what we have to do to keep the state running. But we also know that a lot of folks in Arizona say that they're fiscally conservative. We have to make sure that we have a fair tax bracket for everybody. And that is where me and John Pelvatz stand on it. Our next question is about abortion rights. Mr. Pence, I believe we know where you stand. Mr. Well, yes, you're right. I am pro-life, and so is the president. We are going to stand committed to doing whatever we can to protect the rights of life. Mrs. Abboud, we believe that the woman has the right to choose. Okay? It is not our business, regardless of our personal beliefs. How is this woman a Muslim? Excuse me, Mr. Pence. We need to make sure that women have that respected right. Me and Mr. Pelvatz believe that. And that's Mr. Pence, would you like to respond? Well, first of all, I apologize for the blurt out. But I don't get how Mrs. Abboud is a Muslim if she opposes everything that Muslims stand for. Mrs. Abboud, would you like to respond to that? Islam is about our faith in God. Alright? I converted my husband to Islam. True Islam is a religion of peace. We are standing by true Islam, and True Islam is not about radical terrorism like Mike Pence thinks. Excuse me, the question was about abortion. I said that we are a religion that wants to embrace. We separate religion and politics. That is what I believe in doing, and that is what John Palvatz, who is a Christian, by the way, believes in doing too. Mr. Pence, would you like to respond to that? First of all, I don't think John Palvatz is a Christian. Who are you to judge his faith? I just don't think that. But that's just my view. All right. I don't see. He's a universalist. And I'm not afraid to say that live on stage. He is a universalist. And I think personally that Miss Abboud is a universalist too. I don't really. You have no authority to speak over my faith or John Palvat's faith. You and Mr. Trump are extremely judgmental people. And it is shocking to me how much bigotry has come out of the White House toward Muslims and toward people, just people overall of sexual orientation or immigrants. And it is disgusting to me how you've approved of this president's bigotry over and over and over again, yet condemn Muslims who are peaceful in this country because of a select few of the way they act. It is appalling to me. Mr. Pence, would you like to respond to that? Well, we are John Palvat is a universalist. That's as much as. But you are a judgmental person. How do you explain the bigotry that has come out of the White House? How do you explain it against the Muslims and the immigrants and the LGBT and up against pretty much everybody? How do you explain all the bigotry that has come out of the White House? I want to know what bigotry has come out of the White House. We want to secure our border and we want to keep our nation safe. Well, this debate is getting a little bit heated right now. So we're going to move on to the next question. The next question would be, what are your views? Where do you stand on the foreign policy issues? We are going to support the military. Miss Abboud, we are going to we support the military. John Palvat supports the military. And we want to keep our nation out of wars. It's that simple. All right. Next question. Where do you stand on civil rights and LGBT discrimination? Mr. Pence, we've already discussed this. We oppose discrimination for everyone. We oppose discrimination for everyone. Okay. Where do you about climate change? Next question. Where do you guys stand on climate change? Mr. Pence, me and Mr. Trump act accordingly on it. Me and Mr. Trump have to act accordingly on it. We will continue to do what we can to help our environment, but that's all. That's as simple as that. Mr. Pence does not believe. Excuse me, Abbaud. Mr. Pence is not done speaking. Are you done speaking? That's all I have to say. Mike Pence and President Trump do not believe in climate change and are endangering us all. Me and Mr. Palvatz are going to take very strong steps into into supporting things that are going to take care of our environment. Last and final question. Okay, we are ready for the last and final question of the night. Mr. Pence, Miss Abboud, can you say anything nice about each other before we close up this 2020 vice presidential debate? Mr. Pence? Well, I admire Mrs. Abboud's passion in the state of Arizona. She says she's talked to many people, and we'll see what happens. Miss Abboud, Mrs. Abboud, what can you say about my Vice President Pence? Well, we have to say that he is a human being at heart, a good person at heart, and I believe he is a good person at heart. All right, thank you for watching the 2020 vice presidential debate. Good night, folks.